This is a story about my husband and mother-in-law acting selfishly without consulting me, his wife. My name is Emily. I'm currently a full-time homemaker. We've been married for 2 years and don't have any children yet. My husband, Michael, is busy with work and comes home late every day. We met at a training session for people in the same industry. Since we were both at a good age for marriage, we decided to get married after a year of dating. Our marital relationship was neither good nor bad, but we mostly talked about work. I think we had less conversation than a typical married couple. My husband sometimes consulted me about his work. While I was happy to be relied upon, it reminded me of my working days and increasingly made me want to go back to work. The reason I quit my job to become a full-time homemaker was that my husband suddenly said he wanted me to focus on household chores. I was already good at housework, so I tried to be okay with being a homemaker, but then an incident happened. That's when I found out the real reason why my husband made me a full-time homemaker. One day, I was cleaning my husband's room. When I opened the closet to start changing out the clothes for the season, I found women's clothes lined up inside. What? Whose are these? Could it be an affair? I thought for a moment, but then realized that it was unlikely for someone to brazenly leave their clothes in a house they shared. Since my husband works in fashion, I thought maybe these clothes were for work. That night, when my husband came home from work, I asked him about the clothes in the closet. And the situation turned out to be worse than if it had been an affair. Ah, those? They're all my mom's clothes. Why? What? They're your mother's clothes? Why do we have so many of her clothes here? When I asked this, I received an unexpected answer. Ah. Starting next month, Mom's going to live with us, he said nonchalantly. What? What did you just say? Mom suddenly said she wanted to live together. It's really troublesome, right? Anyway, that's the situation. I'll arrange the move, so don't worry. Can you just prepare a room for her? I was stunned by the sudden news and speechless. Why wouldn't you consult me about such an important matter? I haven't heard anything about this. Why are you raising your voice? I just told you, didn't I? Why are you so angry? He replied. My father-in-law passed away when my husband was young, and my mother-in-law currently lives alone. She's perfectly healthy and not ill in any way. She occasionally comes to our house, checks every corner, and nags me about my housekeeping. As a woman, it's a shame you can't do housework. You might have been excellent at your job, but a woman needs to be good at housework, you know? How can you serve this kind of food to my son? You should learn cooking properly, she always says sarcastically to me. It's classic mother-in-law harassment. Living together means I won't know what she'll say every day. Just thinking about it is depressing. She is my parent, so it should be okay to live together, right? We were planning to live together eventually. And you knew you'd have to take care of her, right? That's why I had you become a full-time homemaker, my husband said. The realization that he made me a homemaker to take care of his mother made my anger boil over. Of course, I couldn't agree and I argued back. I didn't quit my job to take care of my mother-in-law. Are you ignoring my feelings? You know I'm being harassed by her, right? It's natural for the eldest son's wife to take care of the parents, right? You're an adult, so just endure it. Don't make a fuss about it being harassment for just that, he said with a look of disbelief. Taking care of her is natural? Then, shouldn't we have discussed living together before deciding on it, since we're a married couple? I vented my frustrations to my husband. Then, as if he hadn't expected me to be this angry, he said, "You're really heartless." I'm really astounded. I'll report everything to Mom. Be prepared. Saying that, he looked at me and clicked his tongue. Then my husband just left the house. I'm the one who wants to click my tongue, I thought, as I slammed my husband's pillow onto the floor. He didn't come home that day. My refusal to live with his mother must have really upset him. I received a message saying he wouldn't be home for a while. It was only after a week that my husband finally came home. As soon as he arrived, he said with a stern face, "I've discussed the future with Mom." I had a little hope that he might have given up on the idea of living together. But then I was informed of an unexpected outcome of their discussion. This is the result of our discussion. Saying that, he handed me a piece of paper. It was a completed divorce form. What's this? What does this mean? If you refuse to take care of my mom, you're not fit to be a wife, right? I don't need such a wife. So, I think divorce is the only option. He was saying that if we couldn't live together, then we should get a divorce. I was appalled by such a facile attitude. It was like dealing with a petulant child. At the same time, I became calm and realized that I had no love left for my husband. Maybe I was just disgusted and had cooled off. With that feeling, I didn't feel like arguing anymore and just listened to him silently. Then, after saying what he wanted, he said, "I have to go to work now. Cool your head today and rethink living together. You don't want to get divorced, right? Tonight, we'll discuss it again, including my mom." With that, he went to work. That was the moment I made a certain decision. I remained seated at the table, picked up a pen. Then I headed to a certain place. That night, my mother-in-law came to our house. My husband also came home early from work. As soon as she entered, she said, "Who do you think you are? How dare you refuse to live with your husband's mother? You're so selfish." She was very aggressive. Then my husband also spoke up. "It's really unbelievable that you refuse to live together. I chose the wrong person to marry. Emily, have you cooled your head? If you don't like it, feel free to leave, okay?" They both cornered me. But whatever they said, I didn't care. It didn't hurt or itch. I've cooled my head and thought it through. I was really stupid. Hearing this, they smiled, thinking I had given in. "That's good, we forgive you," they said. To them, I continued saying, "Forgive me? Aren't you both misunderstanding something? I've cooled my head. Do you understand what that means? Sorry. But I can't live with people who can't even consider their daughter-in-law's feelings." They were shocked by my unexpected words. "You're not going to say you want a divorce, right? If you hate it so much, you don't have to live together. I can still live alone. Let's discuss this slowly in the future." "Michael, that's okay. Right? Let's put off the living together." My mother-in-law suddenly changed her opinion, trying to please me. "Mom, you're misunderstanding again. There's no way I will live with you in the future." "Why? Don't say such things," she pleaded. "Your plea troubles me. I'm no longer your daughter-in-law. As you both wished, I filled out the divorce form you gave me and submitted it today. It's been officially accepted, so I'm no longer involved." I dismissed their arguments like that. Hearing this, my mother-in-law and husband were dumbfounded. They were probably shocked by my unexpected actions. After a while, my husband seemed to come to his senses and started yelling, "What are you doing submitting that on your own? It's normal to discuss things before doing something like that." "What's normal? I've reached my limit of patience. Do you now understand how it feels to be acted upon without discussing?" That's what I told them both. Intimidated by my firm stance, they didn't argue back, and I started packing my things. They tried to stop me, but I shook them off and went back to my parents' house. "Please don't go," my mother-in-law cried at the end, but I ignored her. I thought she should first apologize for all the harassment, but then I felt relieved thinking I might never see them again. This time, they probably thought that waiving the divorce papers would easily make me agree to live together. Perhaps they assumed that as a homemaker, I wouldn't easily agree to a divorce. I'm not so weak as to endure living together for such reasons. The divorce papers were just a joke. "I'm sorry. Please cancel it." Later, my husband came to my parents' house, begging on his knees, but of course, I refused. No matter how much he apologized, my feelings did not change. I told my parents everything. "You really weren't cut out for being a housewife, were you?" They didn't probe too deeply, just said that. It was just like my parents. Afterward, my husband continued to contact me, not learning his lesson. I guess I chose the wrong husband. "So, please don't contact me again," I replied and blocked his emails. He deserved this punishment for carelessly giving me the divorce papers. What goes around comes around. I hope he regrets it for the rest of his life. Afterward, my husband and mother-in-law started living together, but true to form as parent and child. With their stubborn and self-centered natures being so similar, they constantly argued and soon ended up living separately. Their punishment didn't end there. A while later, my mother-in-law was in a traffic accident. Fortunately, she wasn't fatally injured but became disabled and couldn't live alone anymore. Initially, my husband took care of her, but it wasn't easy managing work and caring for his mother, leading to days filled with irritation. This isn't what I wanted. If only we had a wife, this wouldn't have happened, they lamented. Currently, my mother-in-law is in a facility by her own choice. With no wife or mother-in-law, my husband must be lonely. He hastily started looking for a new partner. Initially, he attended mixers, but nobody was interested, and now he's trying his luck at a marriage agency. However, with his high pride and selfish nature, he's not exactly someone you'd enjoy being around, even as a compliment. I wonder if a woman who would choose such a person will ever appear. If so, I'd definitely like to meet her. As for me, I met with my former colleagues and told them about my divorce. I apologized for the wedding they had celebrated, but surprisingly, they were thrilled. I was then asked to return to my job. Our business had expanded since I left, and they were short-staffed. After talking with my boss, I successfully returned to work. Everyone was struggling without me, and my boss begged, "Please don't leave us again." I can't promise that. If I get married again, I'll retire. But until then, count on me. I answered with a smile. Since returning to work, things have been going great, and I was promoted within a year. I'm really enjoying my job now. So, I'm not thinking about love at the moment, but I hope to meet someone new someday. My first condition for the next person I meet is that they must respect my opinions. The world is vast. I'm confident that I'll meet such a person one day.